Hello, it's Bruce Gray, Barron alumni, and I'd like to spend a couple minutes talking to you about Biz Cafe teamwork. We'll call this the teamwork talk. And Biz Cafe really gives you your first chance to work in a team environment and really have a professional team experience. And it's something that employers really look for whenever you're interviewing for a job later on in your college career. We're going to talk about a couple things. I think a lot of you have experience with teamwork, but I think a lot of that experience is really focused on winning and losing. You know, were you section champions or district champions or league champions? And companies are focused not only on winning and losing, but they're also focused on the culture and the values that the teams have. So we're going to discuss three things. We're going to discuss the successful team process. We're going to talk about how businesses evaluate team performance. And lastly, we're going to speak about what prospective employers want to know about your team experience. So let's get started. If I were a management consultant right now, I'd be telling you there are 4 steps to being a successful team. You form, you storm, you norm, and you perform. But let's put those into English. Okay, in a little while, you're going to be set, or you may already be set into teams. Teams that are charged with making business decisions around your simulation game, the Biz Cafe. And basically, you formed a team. And that's what happens in the real world, too. In the real world, teams are formed. Team members change from time to time. So teams have to reform. It's something that happens. It's a natural part of a team and being part of a team. The next part is how you make decisions. And that's where storming comes in. Actually, to be a successful team, there needs to be a wide diversity of thought and ideas when it comes to looking at solutions, coming up with strategies, and talking about how you're going to execute on the strategies you set. And with diversity of thought comes respectful listening. And it means we have to listen to each other very carefully, and we have to respect each other's opinion. In the real world, storming is not about it's my way or the highway. Storming is really about reaching consensus. And that's where we get into the concept of norming. How do you form consensus, right? Are people respectful of one another? Are you really good at building on each other's ideas? Are you good about taking the strong pieces of what someone suggested and combining it with the strong pieces of what someone else has suggested to come up with even a better solution or a better decision that you're going to make? That's important. I think the other thing that is important about teamwork and about norming is trusting each other. You have to trust each other to do your role. You're going to be assigned different tasks as being part of a team. And number one, you have to take up and be responsible for doing your part. And your teammates have to trust you that you're going to do that. So trusting is a big part of being part of a successful team and a team that's successfully normed. The last thing I really want to talk about is holding each other accountable in a constructive way. When someone isn't doing their responsibilities and living up to what they're supposed to be doing, we really need to hold them accountable. We need to do that in a constructive way. We need to motivate them to really become part of the team again and to pick up and do the work that we've asked them to do. So when we talk about norming, that's really what norming is about. It's about how we make that decision. How do we storm? Are we able to have a good debate? And by debate, I mean respectfully listen to one another's opinions and build on the important parts of those opinions. And performance builds on a team's success. In other words, how did you make the good decisions? When you're really performing, you're really building on how you made those good decisions. But when you're performing, you're also learning from your setbacks or your decisions that didn't go the way you wanted them to. How did your team respond to that? Were you able to go back? Were you able to have a constructive conversation? Were you able to listen to various viewpoints about what went wrong, why it went wrong, and how you can fix it? Those are all important things with regard to a team's overall performance. I can tell you I've been part of teams that haven't performed very well, and it's not fun to be part of a team that hasn't performed very well. What is fun is to be part of a high-performing team. So we're telling you this so you can hopefully have some fun doing the Biz Cafe game. Because being part of a well-performing team, that's fun. How do companies evaluate team performance? And they do it two different ways. And we'll call it the what and the how. And the what is really the part that's measured, the numeric part, right? Did you bring in so much in sales? Have you contributed so much in net income? Those are things that are measurable and that companies will be looking at if you're on the income side of the business. And that is the what. The how is, how did you perform your role as being part of that team? How did you achieve the what? That's what companies are interested in. And I can tell you, strong corporate cultures that really foster high-performing teams, there's one thing they do not tolerate. They do not tolerate people who are very high performers with regard to the what and don't meet standards with regard to the how. Those people generally are let go and released from those organizations. So it's not only the numbers you put up on the scoreboard, but it's how you did it. And really, how you did it refers back to the culture of your team. So that's, I think, we were talking about before when we were talking about what makes up a good team and how do you norm. Your norming is really the culture you're setting for your team. Are you listening to one another? Are you being respectful, accountable, and responsible, taking personal responsibility? So let's spend a couple seconds talking about what employers want to know. Employers really want to know about both the what and the how, but they're very interested in the how. They are very interested in how your team came together. How did you learn from mistakes? How did you build on your successes? How were you at building consensus? Can you clearly demonstrate that your team listened to a diversity of opinions and was able to incorporate them in the decisions that you made? I can tell you some of the shortest interviews I conducted were when talking about teamwork was when people actually responded and told me, as a team member, they basically declared martial law. They took over the team, they decided to make all the decisions themselves, and that was it. And they told me that was their key to being a successful team member. I'll be honest with you, no corporation that's highly successful wants to have someone who declares martial law, takes total control of the team, makes all the decisions for themselves. That's not the point of this exercise. The point of this exercise is to learn how to work together, how to respect one another, how to have a diversity of thought, and come up with good decisions. I hope that you'll embrace being a strong performing team, a high performing team, and that you'll have fun with this game. Being part of a high performing team is fun. So I challenge you all right now, have fun, play the game, be good teammates, and figure out how to form, storm, norm, and perform.